Back with another Coyles Calcio Corner. Myself, JJ Coyle, mio gran fratello, Owen Luciano. And we're back in the playoffs.
Yeah, a little bit disappointed, really. The fact that Italy have been automatically qualified. But I'm feeling quite comfortable. I'm feeling confident. I think, with what Mancini said when he came out after the game. He came out and spoke about how, Italy are going to win the next 2 games and then they're going to have a good chance in the World Cup. And I agree with him. I think we're a good team.
So a couple of questions on Italy's performances. So we drew 0-0 to Northern Ireland in the last game. I don't know how much that would have swung it if we would have won, because Switzerland won comfortably. And we drew to Switzerland 1-1.
We would have needed 3 goals.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
The main talking point, I suppose, is the Switzerland performances. 2 draws against Switzerland. They're the team that's advanced automatically at our expense, and they're a decent team, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, the 3-0 victory in the Euros.
I think that kind of flattered us, though. Really, I mean, obviously we did well and we scored 3 good goals, but I think they're a lot better than that, Switzerland, and they proved it when they beat France, to be fair.
Absolutely. And one thing for sure with Switzerland is that they've got a clear way of getting out from defence to attack. You could see that against France when they knocked them out. The transition's very well drilled. It's very incisive. But Jorginho, 3rd consecutive penalty miss for Italy. There was the one at the Euros. Let's not forget, Jorginho, probably, like say, our main contender to win a Ballon d'Or, maybe a top 3 contender. He scored the decisive penalty against Spain, but then missed this penalty against England in the final, only for Donnarumma to pull off that last gasp save and win us the Euros. But then he's missed against Switzerland in the away game. That would have given us 3 points and probably put the group to bed. But that 90th minute opportunity at home in Rome.
I mean, you know how I feel about Jorginho. I like him. I like Georgie. I think he's a good player. Did well in the Euros. Obviously won the Champions League for Chelsea. But you can't be missing 3 penalties in a row playing for the European champions. And it just doesn't sit well with me. And I'm not a big fan of his technique, JJ.
Well, before we get to that, because I don't like his technique, neither, to be honest. But should he have taken that penalty?
Why? Who do you think should have taken it?
I just think it's a difficult one. I don't expect Mancini to say to him, I don't have the confidence in you to step up and take a penalty. I think it's his own personal responsibility. It's a mental battle.
Who do you think should be taking the pen?
I think Jorginho should have taken it, but he should have buried it.
I didn't like the technique. Was terrible. I mean, he normally does a little skip, but this time he just decided to. You can't be hitting over. When you take a penalty, you need to be hitting the target.
In terms of the way Jorginho's executed the penalty, it looks like it's pressure. But do you give a bit of blame for Mancini for allowing him to take the penalty?
No, I mean, he is the penalty taking. You'd expect him. If you step up for it, if you're brave enough to take a penalty and you're confident enough, and he's the penalty taker, you'd expect him to finish it. For me, I've not got an issue with who takes the penalty. I just think that he needs to be burying that. He scores that penalty, Italy automatically through to the World Cup. You can't, at this level especially, you can't afford to be missing chances of that ilk. And it was fortunate, the penalty anyway. I mean, it was a penalty, but it was fortunate. And you just can't squander them kind of opportunities.
Well, I don't think Mancini can have any blame for trusting in the player, but I was worried before he stepped up and took it. I thought he might miss. I mean, the first penalty in the previous game against Switzerland away, you saw the keeper made a really good save to his left, to Jorginho's left, that was. And you just thought to yourself, is he in his head? Is it a better idea that somebody comes in? But he's obviously not gone for the hop, skip and the penalty. But just not happy with his overall technique on that occasion. To not hit the target, he must have been thinking about it going into the game.
I mean,
it's on Jorginho, isn't it?
Definitely, 100%. I think
I think that's the biggest reason we've not qualified automatically is because Jorginho didn't score his penalties, but at the same time we got the benefit of penalties to win the Euros, and if you live and die on the penalties, that's what can happen. But looking ahead towards the playoffs, there's nothing in there too scary.
No,
I mean, even the likes of Ronaldo's Portugal, I mean, they don't really seem to attack teams. They play in transition themselves, so we'd get plenty of the ball. I think it's just about the squad options being available for Italy.
I'm confident. I mean, I obviously I'm disappointed we didn't automatically qualify, and I think Jorginho, hopefully it won't bite us, but we could really rue that miss. And I just think that if you're taking a penalty, you've got a lot of players on the pitch with a lot of experience, and Jorginho is a great penalty taker. He's got a good ratio. You've got to be at least hitting the target. If the keeper saves it, then it's unlucky. But to not hit the target, it was the way he missed it as well. It was just, for me, it was just a lack of composure, which is not what it's the antithesis of Jorginho, really, the lack of composure. This is a guy who, he basically just passes these penalties into the net. But 2 more games, and then obviously hopefully we'll be in the World Cup. And I think we're a tournament team. I think we'll do well in the World Cup. And I just hope that, a couple of the players that the younger players that look good and that they could come into the team, I hope they can step up. I think a defender in the under-21 scored a hat-trick, so be interesting to see him come into the fold. And
what did you think of the game against Switzerland? Because it looked like we started slow to me.
The game against Switzerland, I like Italy. I like the way we play football. I like the way we've played football under Mancini, and I like Mancini's philosophy. I'm not worried. I think for me, when I watch Italy, I just want to see us play good football. And since Mancini's come in, I'm proud of my team. Win, lose, or draw. And I think that we play good football. And I think we're unlucky not to automatically qualify, but it's not a God-given right that you automatically qualify. And now we've got to go and do it. But we've done exceptional things under Mancini. Sure. Look at the unbeaten record, for example.
Well, I think with Gianpiero Ventura, when we didn't qualify for the World Cup, I was furious. I weren't furious because we got to the playoffs. That can happen. But I didn't like the way he set up away to Spain. I think it was naive to play 4 men in midfield, 2 attackers against a 6-man midfield. And they ran rings around us that day. Against Sweden, we found Darmian, one of our attacking outlets, on the top left-hand side, and he had Insigne on the bench. And it just didn't make sense when we had a lot of possession to not be using Insigne to create the opportunities. And so I was furious with the way that the tactics were carried out. When I look at that playoffs, I'm always remembering De Rossi asking the coach, why do you want to bring me on? Yeah. We need a goal, go and put Insigne on. The Verratti yellow card in the first leg, taking him out of the second leg, which was like Jorginho's debut for Italy. And that my biggest memory was Ventura didn't really deliver the tactics to give us the platform. And also Ciro Immobile, I believe, got 180 minutes over 2 games. He had a 40-goal season. He was in the form of his life, and he just couldn't break down a team, even though we had the majority of the possession. I was really, really disappointed with Ventura and Immobile. And I kind of put us not going to the last World Cup partially on them two, and then on Conte for walking away from Italy. So that's how I feel about the last playoffs. This time we're in the playoffs. I'm not disappointed with Mancini because, I look at who we played. I think Balotelli now has probably had enough time for Italy. Unless he really does something in Serie A, there's no reason to call him back.
Balotti's a good squad player.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he comes on and you're going to get a guy who works hard. Italy need number 9.
He's not mobile, is he? I mean, I take that Scamacca who come on in the last game, and I would also take Moise Kean. I bring Balotelli back before I see Belotti again. In fact, let's just say Belotti or Balotelli.
Well, Balotelli now or Balotelli when he was in his prime?
Balotelli's still 31. He's got 5 in his last 12. He's asking to come back from it.
5 in the last 12?
He's playing in Turkey.
I can't believe you're even still following that guy's career.
No, but he made comments recently saying that he wants, he's had talks with Mancini. He won't be able to press if he's called back in there, but he wants to get to that level where he's going to be available again. And all I'm saying is, it's not like we're blessed with loads of attacking talent.
Listen, that could be an incredible, a remarkable story if Mario Balotelli could come back. I mean, Super Mario, what he did against Germany was probably one of the best attacking performances that I've ever seen him deliver, and it was just real high quality. And one thing I've always said about Mario is he's got a great strike on him. And I know a lot of the City boys, they love Mario for his personality, and he's a character.
The thing is, for me, we've always seen the very best of Balotelli in an Italy shirt. Always, even though his numbers have not quite been there. And I'm really frustrated by how the last World Cup ended, with Balotelli getting a lot of the blame. He scored the winner against England with that back post header. Fantastic header.
It was a good header, that. In the World Cup in Brazil, wasn't it?
Yeah, missed a couple of chances. I think was it Costa Rica we played?
Yeah, Costa Rica.
He missed a couple of chances from Pirlo's passes.
He was really lethargic in that game.
He was. Okay, I take that. He was poor, but I felt like we lost that game because Prandelli wet the bed. Yeah, it was the worst performance. I love Prandelli, but that was the worst performance I've seen from us. And it was Prandelli. I really did feel that, without even going back over it into too much depth. And then the third game against Uruguay, Balotelli had a yellow card, and he's out there battling, and he's complaining, and Prandelli was worried he might get sent off. Brought him off for Immobile, and Immobile did nothing. So I just felt like it all ended horribly, and then he gets on the bus and doesn't join in while Buffon does one of his 200 retirements at the time before he comes back. So, and then he's kind of exiled, he's not going to feature. And then his club career has never really impressed me. He started well at Inter. City, he did all right. Milan, he went back there, did okay. Followed him at Nice, did some things there. But the Liverpool move was a bad one. The Liverpool move, why did he go to Liverpool? Klopp, you can see Klopp now. He will only have a team that plays a certain system, and Balotelli is in that system, isn't he? And that's the risk if you bring Balotelli back to Italy. We play a system where you must press, and Balotelli doesn't do that. So it is a plan B to bring in a Balotelli. But one thing Balotelli will do is he's got the quality, he's got the decision making, he's got the athleticism, and he can finish. So I mean, I wouldn't rule it out, but I'm not all in for Balotelli because I prefer our style at the moment, that style that people buy into. And I think obviously Immobile has to be that first line. I just worry that probably our second best option that I can see in that number 9 position it definitely isn't Belotti. Definitely isn't Belotti. I think it's Moise Kean, but he doesn't play enough at Juventus, and I'm worried he's going to get the game time to continue to develop. He needs to be playing week in, week out. But I mean, I don't really hold the blame to Mancini too much for the squad because I just don't think the players were available. Look at who he was bringing off the bench. So in the Northern Ireland game, he's got Chiesa, Berardi, Insigne up top. You're not going to change that at all, are you?
No.
So he's picked the right players, and they've just not got the job done. But the guys he's bringing off the bench, Bernardeschi, Cristante, he brought Belotti off the bench. It's just not good enough. He had injuries, and I think that was the biggest problem because we know with Mancini, he likes a high energy game and he likes to make changes. And if the guys he's bringing off the bench are not up to it, we're just not going to get the job done. But so yeah, I mean, even if we do go out of the playoffs, which it could happen.
I mean, you can look at it a number of different ways, but for me, I'm not worried. I almost feel like it's a penalty shootout and we've got Donnarumma. I'm confident. I love watching this Italy team, and I just think in the next 2 games with Mancini, with the players that we've got, grateful. I'm really just loving and proud of the side at the moment. Playing some good football. I like the philosophy. I like the manager. I'm not worried. I'm not sat here overthinking things like I would normally with Italy, because I just think that I'm confident that whoever we get, whether it be Portugal, I'm not bothered who it is. I think we'll win over the next two legs. Hopefully, we'll have Verratti back as well. Who I think
did you think it was a big miss?
I think it is a big miss. I think he's a big miss in any team because he's just, he's a fantastic midfielder. And what Verratti does is he controls games. We've seen players over the years like Scholes, Pirlo's, Xavi's. They control games in there. They're special players, and Verratti is in that bracket.
Well, I think with Verratti as well, where he's playing for Italy, is he occupies a lot of them 10 spaces at times, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that moves Insigne into different positions. And I think we're really missing.
Yeah, because the other thing as well, the other dynamic that we're currently missing, which is Spinazzola.
I was just about to go there.
But what I do want to say is I want to pay homage to Emerson. He's filled in for him at left back. He's been absolutely sublime. I really like Emerson as a footballer, and it's just a shame, really, that Spinazzola is as good as he is, because when he plays for Italy, on that left side, the threat that's there, and what happens is the team understands. So you've got Di Lorenzo, who's been bombing on recently. He's done okay. He's scored a goal, and he's tried to get in there. But ultimately, he is a more defensive player, and what happens is the two centre backs and Di Lorenzo tend to shuffle over. Then you've got Verratti just picking up, sort of almost just slotting into that left channel where Spinazzola would probably be, picking up the ball there, dictating play. You've got Jorginho just rolling play on. There's always the switch on when you've got Chiesa on the right-hand side. If we get Ciro Immobile back, and I'm not a massive Ciro Immobile fan, one, because he plays for Lazio and io tifosi Roma, and the other one is the fact that I don't think he's clinical enough in front of goal, but he does score goals and he works hard, Ciro. So I just think if we could get all our players back over the next two legs, I fancy us, and then we'll have a good World Cup, and who knows what the future holds. Are we going Qatar?
Yeah, so the playoffs.
Are we going? You reckon, JJ?
The playoffs are a bit different. Do you remember the Russia one?
Tu voglio vai a mondo?
No, what's it called? I don't want to get ahead of myself in terms of our Italy if we go into the World Cup. I mean, I've seen the playoffs. We saw Russia.
Let's say Italy get through.
Do you remember against Russia for the 98 World Cup? Paul Yuka, it was snowing, got injured,
Would you not like to go to Qatar and just watch one match?
Just park the sun for one moment, right? And let's talk about the snow. You've got Paul Yuka in the snow, didn't fancy it, came off in a battle in Moscow or in Russia somewhere, probably in Moscow. And Buffon stepped in for his debut for Italy.
Was incredible.
And he was fantastic.
He was 17 in that game.
His performance from a novice got us into that World Cup. And then you've got the Sweden two legs where we battered the opposition for 2 games but couldn't get a goal. So I'm not counting my chickens. We saw the other day that there's limitations to this Italy team. Yeah, we've lost 1 game in about 42, 43 games, but we're not punishing teams. We're not putting teams away. And when our best striker does come back Immobile, we can't hang our hat on him to score goals. Chiesa, we don't know what we're going to get from him every game. We don't know what we're going to get out of Bernardeschi every game. There's decisions to be made.
Listen, I'm confident.
I think we need to bring in Pellegrini, your guy from Roma. I think and Barella looks like he needs a rest.
And andiamo Qatar Beppe. Yeah.
So you still all in for?
Yeah, well, I fancy. You know what I mean? It's a new opportunity.
What about if we get Portugal?
If we get Portugal, we'll play them off the park with the high press, Mancini ball, I like to call it. Listen, Italy, when they've got a first 11 available, different ball game, and then what happens is when you've got your first 11, you've got real quality coming off the bench. You've got guys like Locatelli coming off the bench. Barella's in there, Jorginho's in there, Verratti's in there. You're talking about players who just change games in seconds, who see things that just other footballers don't see. You've got Chiesa. If Chiesa gets fed the right amount of balls, with his energy, with his work rate, he will score. I mean, I was disappointed in him the other night, but going forward in the next 2 games, absolutely confident. That's me. That's where I'm at with Italy right now. Forza l'Italia.
Yeah, I don't think there's.
Forza ragazzi.
I think we just need to see who we get in the playoff structure. So we
Campioni del Euro.
So we will get a whole. So as a seeded team, there's 12 teams into the playoffs, and as one of the 6 seeded teams, we will play at home in the semi-final.
D'Italia, d'Italia se desta delle municipio se cinta la testa.
Where's victory?
Dove la
Vittoria
c'è poca la chioma che scava di Roma ed io la creo. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum,
Are we having a full
ba-da-bum,
rendition?
pom, 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 pom.
Fratelli d'Italia se desta del municipio se cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le puoga le chioma, chi scava di Roma e non la creò. Stringiamoci la corte, siamo pronto alle morte, siamo pronto alle morte, l'Italia chiamò. Stringiamoci la corte, siamo pronto alle morti, siamo pronto alle morte, l'Italia chiamò. Sì!
Yeah. Forza d'Italia, ragazzi.
Question I heard listening to Mina and I just want to know, would you exchange winning the Euros for going to the World Cup?
No, don't be silly.
Nah, it's once in a lifetime. And do you know what I loved about the Euros as well, Ossie? The path. You know, the
Listen, I've already seen us win 2 World Cups, fella. I don't want to be that greedy.
Belgium, Spain, and England.
Never
in the
won a
back
Euros
garden.
under my shift before.
I ain't swapping that for nothing.
No
Listen,
chance.
I'll have a decade off from World Cups. Spoiled. I'll have a decade off and just might buy myself like a.
Listen, we'll address this after the next playoffs about Italy, but I am fully confident we're going through. Are you confident we're going through?
Do you know what I'm confident? I'm confident that I'm going to get myself like one of them a Euros trophy. Yeah.
No, listen, I know what you mean. I'm just
Euros trophy. It's in the bank.
Listen,
it's in the bank.
I want to move past this. Do you think Italy are getting through over the next 2 games?
I think it's going to come down to who's available, isn't it? Really, we've seen that.
No, I just want a straightforward answer, fella.
I'm confident, but at the end of the day, like I said, the games have to be played. We are favourites, though.
Right, you're just sitting on the fence again, Jack.
Not
I've
sitting on the fence.
I've asked you.
Listen, I think.
No, I've asked you. Do you think we're going to go through? Yes or no?
Yeah,
right, excellent. All right, let's talk. Let's change it up. Yeah, we'll try and stay